have journalists there. But then you went to Gaza at the end of the conflict, or yes, during the conflict, and came out with a slightly different story. What did you find? What did you see?
Well, yes, I wrote this article on Arendt, which appeared at the beginning of January, having been in Israel 20 years, and saying basically two things. You present yourself as a democracy, the only democracy of the Middle East, then you're acting like you're not. Because if you don't allow the media to enter, to be there, to report what's happening on both sides, then you are behaving like your neighbor. So this is the first point. The second point was that in effect this closure of Gaza to the media would have played in the hands of the propaganda from both sides. If you are not there, then you have to listen to the Israeli propaganda. That's the only thing that you have if you are in Israel. And if you cannot enter Gaza, then there is the other side propaganda, the Palestinian propaganda. So that's why it's important to be there. It's true, there were Palestinian journalists. I've been, as I say, 20 years, I have many friends there. I have only 2 or 3 remarks on that. Also looking at my experience in Iraq, Afghanistan, Lebanon, other war situations during a conflict. Well, if you have your mother, your father, your sister, your children who have been shot, if you have some of your family who have been killed, if your house is under threat, if your life is under threat, you are a journalist. And this can be in Palestine, can be in Italy, can be in France. But maybe your testimony will be a bit biased because you are not a witness, you are not a spectator anymore, you are an actor. You are part of the conflict, you want it or not. Now I have many Palestinian friends who really try to be above their passions and their feelings, but I think it's inevitable. If I'm Corriere della Sera living in Milan and France or Norway is bombarding me and I'm asked to report, somehow my personal experience will be there, will be in my reporting. So this question of the objectivity of the Palestinian, I'm now talking about the Palestinian, but it's valid in any country. I've been a lot in Iraq now, 3 years in Iraq, and it was the same. I think that inevitably the value, the report that you are doing, being part of the conflict, will be a bit different, or a lot different, from the reporting of a guy who maybe know nothing. It's not my case, I've been there long, but who arrived from the moon and is parachuting the situation, is more open to listen to both sides. And is writing in the same language of the country to whom he's reporting, so he has the sensibility of the country. And again, it's more detached. And I think to be detached helps in, as I say, I would say in bracket, liberal journalism, in which I really believe. Listen to the two sides, being open-minded. You don't have to be an expert, but if you are a good journalist, you have a good feeling, if you move around, if you listen to people, then maybe your reporting is more, in bracket, objective. It's less passionate, maybe. It's less detailed, but maybe, more liberal. And I would add another element, which really, then I will, if I have time, I'll tell you what I saw entering in Gaza. I was in Rafah for about a week, first week of Rafah, Egypt, of January, after 2 weeks, after 10 days from the beginning of the conflict. And then I entered in Gaza on the 12th, on the 13th of January, so I witnessed the war inside Gaza from Khan Yunis, and then Gaza City arrived on the 16th. On the 17th I entered in Gaza City, and then I went to Lakia, Khan Yunis, Jabalia, all the area which the doctor know very well. And so then I will say what I say. But I would add something more. I was a guest in a simple Palestinian house of people who I met, as it happened to us. You are a war reporter, you enter in a war situation, you follow luck, you follow instinct, you follow the possibility you find on the ground. And I found a very nice fellow in Al Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis who told me, what you're doing here has happened very often in Palestinian society, in Arab society. The hospitality, in spite of all the cliché, Islamic fundamental, etc., is enormous. The kind of welcome I had all the time, from the first Intifada on, really people being under curfew, as the Israelis say, osser, and giving you everything, because you are a guest, and the guest is honored. So the guy invited me, and I have many stories from this house, but 3 blocks close to our house, there was a house of a Fatah officer, ex-policeman, who was dismissed after a mass election victory in 25th of January 2006. And he was shot. Actually, he was tortured by Hamas. He was shot in the legs, and then he was still alive, they took out one of his eyes when he was alive, and then he was shot. I have the name, I have all the testimonies, I went to see the body the day after, etc. What astonished me was that during the war, Hamas and Fatah were still struggling in Gaza, and Fatah it's a weaker part in Gaza, not in the West Bank, but in Gaza it is. And there were a lot of 13, 14, 15, 20, I heard a different number, killings, apart from the case of torture and harassment of Fatah guys, by Hamas officials, by Hamas military, during the war, which astonished me. It was really incredible. And my family was really shocked. They knew the guy, they were slightly Fatah, but it was my child. I was not looking for Fatah or Hamas, I was looking for people, all right? So it was put me in an alert. I have a lot to say about Gaza, so I can talk for 2 hours, I have not the time. But what I want to add again about the value of the witnesses, and Shirin, the New York Times reporter, the young girl, was really angry at me, very, very angry, but about this. But another thing that report, local friend, again, I repeat, I've been there 20 years, a Shirin Sana, 20 years. So I know a bit the language. They told me, Lorenzo, we cannot report. Hamas is threatening us. You can tell the truth. We cannot. I cannot make a name because this name can come out. So I cannot. They are under threat. And there is a little problem for Hamas in the West Bank. I think a bit less. But be careful. Be careful also to the doctor. If you know the story, you know there is a story of incredible violence against the media by Palestine. I'm not talking now about Israel. It's another chapter we can talk. I was under fire for 2 hours by Israeli soldiers in Netzarim in Gaza on the 16th. They shot my car. I was talking with Avital, the spokeswoman of the Israeli army, by phone. I'm under fire. They're shooting our car. Our car was totally ridden of bullets, and I'm here by miracle, really. So, journalists have been shot, and I was coordinating. I was moving from Khan Yunis to Gaza, trying to get Gaza, to reach Gaza, and they shot our car. So I know, and I have a lot to say about that. But my point now is talking about the point made by the doctor. I insist in saying that it was very important to get in Gaza by, I say Western, but can be Chinese, can be Japanese, I'm not saying foreign journalists. And that's the value of the foreign journalists. That's why I wrote this story on Ares before having the luck, the capacity, the fortune to enter in Gaza. About the question of being there. Now I have 2 or 3 points, and you will tell me when I have to stop. I arrived on I think it was late morning 13 January in Rafah. I take an ambulance. The ambulance was the only way to move around in that moment, and there were only ambulances.